Hi, I'm Steve Roman from Bad Force Radio. I'm here today with Marty Henley for a Q&A made up of your questions sourced from NECA Socials. Marty is the sculptor behind NECA's Batman 1989 utility belt prop replica. Welcome, Marty. How are you today?
Doing good. Great to be here.
What was your biggest challenge creating this replica?
One of the biggest challenges for me was dealing with the fact that the belt from the movie was made to not really have any components in it, so it was really thin. And so what we did at NECA to create the little elements that are going to be in this was looked at the ultimate guide to the Batman belt and looked at some of the components, and then I had to try to figure out how to fit those into the little belt with it being as thin as it is. So that was definitely challenging.
As a fan of the movie, just looking at some of the first glimpses of Keaton with the belt, you get a lot of that front view, but you really don't get the inner core of what's inside the belt.
Yeah.
So I think that guide really kind of gives you kind of like that visual to kind of imagine what would be inside of it.
Yeah, I think the only time in the movie he interacts with the belt with his gadgets is when he has the grappling hook where it shows him attach it to the belt. Other than that, we only see it when he really puts it on in the costume.
With regards to the gadgets not seen in the movie, did you come up with those on your own, or was there an exact reference that you were able to follow?
Yeah, so the Ultimate Guide to Batman has an illustration of the Bat Belt. And in that illustration, you see, so this is one of my first 3D prints. So this was the, pretty much what you see in that illustration is the Bat camera. And that's all you see of it. So what I ended up having to do was elaborate on those design elements and make the rest of the camera. And so I just tried to add little cool little vents and buttons and things like that on it. There's like a little pocket here for you to take the batteries out, stuff like that. And so once I had that one finished and developed that kind of design language for the size, I went back into things like the taser and tried to make this kind of look like it would hurt if you got jabbed in the neck with it. But it has like all these little buttons and little wires and things like that on it. One of my favorites is the rebreather. Like this was a design, my personal design. Had a little bit of influence by episode 1 of Star Wars, where you see the Jedi underwater with the little rebreather in their mouth. So I wanted this to feel like if you put your mouth on it here, there's the little cartridges here. So maybe it's like a 1 or 2 breath little, stay underwater just a little bit longer to give you a little extra time. And then I had like, the little scanner here. And it folds out because I wanted it to have a little bit bigger presence whenever it pops open, so it feels more like a legitimate usable object. There's all kinds of little slaughter buttons and knobs and things on it visually. And the whole time I was working on it, I was just trying to make my 14-year-old self happy. So just playing with those design elements. That was a big challenge. When I get projects like this from NECA, like I spend days researching every single thing I can find about the belt, any behind the scenes stuff, any auctions where they auctioned off the belt, anything I can do to find reference to anything in the movie. Go through comic books trying to find like references to like his bat pellets, anything that's in the belt. So that was pretty much my design process, but I ended up relying on this ultimate guide pretty heavily.
What is your favorite moment of the Batman 1989 movie?
When Batman came out in 1989, I was 14, and unlike today, there wasn't a lot of information about the movie before the movie came out, except for you knew Michael Keaton was going to play Batman. There was a lot of controversy on, can he play Batman? Does he have that presence? And so as a kid, I went into the movie blind. I had no idea what he was really going to look like. You just get like bits and pieces from like Comic Scene magazine or Starlog. And so when I went and saw the movie, and when he is first introduced on the rooftop with the 2 thugs, and you see him, he like holds his cape up and he's got that iconic look. That scene itself really shows you that Michael Keaton can be Batman. Like you see everything you need to know about Batman. He's stealthy. He shows up. He's intimidating. He has a lot of power. He kicks a guy through the door. He holds a guy over, with his bare hands over the edge of the building. He pulls out his gadgets for the first time. We see the Batarang when he catches the guy's foot.
Right.
And then at the end, it goes back into the stealthiness. He just jumps off the building and he's gone. And so that part of the movie, when I was a kid, like gave me chills because I was like, "Oh my God, this is Batman! I want to see this forever," you know. And so that was really the scene that really solidified, like, this is amazing. So
Yeah, for sure. I think this was the moment where he steps out of the silver and the bronze age.
yeah,
He's not bubblegum anymore. He is a badass Batman in black, and he's vengeance,
yeah,
as you know they say in the new movies. But he's very vengeful. This is not the Batman we grew up with. He's badass.
yeah. And he sets the tone there too, where he lets the guys see him for the first time, because I think Vicky Vale and the other reporter are talking about like whispers of like this bat, but he actually reveals himself to the bad guys for the first time and tells them, "Tell all your buddies that I'm here," and he like solidifies that myth into reality.
Can you hook the batarang and grappling gun to the belt?
Yes, absolutely. So I have those here, and this is really cool because there's a very strong magnetic component here in the front. And so this is the batarang, and the batarang, of course, folds up just like in the movie. And so it'll stick
Nice.
to the front, which is really cool. The Batmobile remote control that I sculpted as well, it will also snap to the front, and it hooks in like multiple different spots.
Wow.
So that's really cool. And then we have the grapnel here, and this was the cool part in the movie for me, where he gets Vicky Vale, he attaches it like that to the front, and it clips on. And the other thing that's cool is this comes apart, and the pieces will like, you know, clip onto the front. So
That's sick.
just like in the movie, he has the 4 little capsules, but the actual bat belt comes with 6 capsules, so that, you know, you can put individual, you know, you got the taser, you have the camera, so you can set your bat belt up for whatever mission you're going on. So I thought that was really cool, and that was one of the reasons my art director and I talked about doing a few extra, so that you have that customizable belt for each mission. So thought that was kind of neat.
A lot of people have also asked, can adults fit into this belt?
Yeah, so one of the things we tried to do when we were working on this was make this adjustable. So this belt will actually go from 31.5 inches to 50 inches with the extension here on the back. So it should fit quite a few fans. There we go.
What is your favorite thing that recently that you've worked on NECA besides the belt?
Yeah, so recently I can't talk about stuff, but some of the most favorite things I've worked on, and this is because I'm a kid of the late 70s, early 80s. I had a chance to work on the Lost Wave of D&D figures for LJN, so I got to sculpt all the little figures that weren't released back in the day, and I had to kind of match that style. So this is Kalik. I did Kalik, Scala, and Pulveri. And so that was my first action figure that I got to sculpt for NECA, and then followed up by I got to work in that same line with D&D and got to do Grimsword. And this was my first Ultimate figure for NECA, and he was amazingly difficult and was a crazy challenge with all the little scales and stuff. But he's kind of my pride and joy right now with the things that I've done, and I was really excited to get to work on that stuff.
Marty, thank you again.
Thanks. It was great being here.
If you want to grab your own belt, head over to thenecastore.com. Thanks for watching.